Hi, sweet ones, and welcome to this episode of Embodied Divinity. Let's take a big deep breath and get really centered in the here and now, allowing yourself to sink into the sacredness of this moment, of this space we're sharing together, and to simply be. This week's episode feels especially sacred as I'm speaking to you from Paris, the city of light, while spending some really incredible and much needed time with my daughter. There's something about traveling, about stepping into new spaces that pulls us into the present moment, forcing us to slow down and just be. We've been conditioned to rush, to plan, to anticipate the next move. But what if we allowed ourselves to sink fully into every moment? What if we realized that every single breath, every blink of our eyes is a portal to something greater? Today, I want to talk to you about the art of presence, not just as a concept, but as a living practice, especially when we find ourselves in new spaces, whether it's physically in a different country or internally, navigating new landscapes within our soul. Last week, we talked about surrender and really letting go. And as we let go, as we release, we enter into this new sacred space. We enter into this void, this place of unknown, where as we no longer try to force or control outcomes, we simply get to be. And that can be kind of scary. And presence is one of those magical tools that allow that in-between space to become sacred. Being here in Paris with my daughter is an experience that's as rich internally as it is externally. The cobblestone streets, the centuries old architecture, the smell of fresh bread, and the hum of the city. They're all reminders to me of how deeply sacred the ordinary can be. I find myself pausing more, absorbing every moment, every sight, every sound, realizing that this city holds not just history, but the whispers of every soul who has walked these streets before me. There's this profound beauty in this awareness, in knowing that I too am leaving my energetic imprint here. And that's what presence does for us. It makes us realize that no moment is ever insignificant. Even just looking over and watching my daughter's face light up as she sees all of these new sights and tastes all of these new foods and experiences this new world. It's creating these core memories within her, and it's leaving this energetic blueprint behind of awe and wonder. It's easy to get lost in the details of planning. Even in this trip, I find myself thinking ahead sometimes, where we'll go next, what we'll see, how we'll spend the day. But when I pull myself back, I remember something that's so important for me. This moment right here, right now, is where the sacred lives. It lives in the in-between spaces, the spaces we so often rush through. Even in planning this trip, I was so conscious about time and energy. I would plan 2 small activities a day. For example, one day our only activity was in the morning going to the Garden of Versailles, and the rest of the afternoon was free. The day before, it was looking at the catacombs in the morning, having a huge space of freedom between, and then going to the Eiffel Tower, and then another chunk of time where nothing was planned. And I did this so that we could be led by spirit, so that we could wander and adventure and not think too much about what was next. There was still this sense of structure, all of these things that were important to my daughter to see, we created structure for. But there was no rushing, no getting to the next place in a hurry. It was simply being in the moment. And it allowed for us to pause at each space, to have these moments of grounding and silence in the morning, to take in the beauty of every single thing that we experienced as we were there, without having to think about where we'd go next, because we knew that there was time and space. We listened to the calling of our heart, and it led us to some of the most magical things. When we're present, we make space for the divine to speak to us, to guide us, to surprise us. Presence is more than just being physically here. It's being energetically, emotionally, spiritually here. It's something I've practiced for years, but there's a unique kind of presence that travel calls us into. When we step into new spaces, especially spaces that hold a different frequency from our own, we're forced to meet those energies with openness and curiosity. There's less room for autopilot, and everything feels alive because it is. It's like when you arrive in a new city, you don't just see the streets or the buildings. You feel the heartbeat of the place. The same is true for our internal journeys. Every time we reach a new stage of self-discovery, every time we push ourselves into something uncomfortable, unknown territory, there's a pulse there too, urging us to be still enough to feel it. Presence asks us to be still enough to notice the magic. One of the most beautiful things about this trip has been the deep connection I've experienced with my daughter. There's something about sharing new experiences that amplifies the connection between souls. I've realized that presence isn't just a gift we give ourselves, it's a gift we give to others. When I look at her and we share a laugh, a conversation, or even a quiet moment together, I feel how deeply the divine connection between us is. And I know it's because we're fully present here with each other. Presence is love in action. It says, I see you. I'm here with you. Whether you're walking the streets of a foreign city or sitting across from someone you love, those moments of pure, unfiltered connection are truly holy. They remind us that love doesn't just need grand gestures or perfect words. It needs our attention, our willingness to show up fully. But I want to take this even deeper. When we travel to new places, or when we reach new stages of our own spiritual journey, there's this kind of sacred disorientation that happens. Things look and feel different. It can be exciting, but it can also be unsettling. We have to let go of the familiar, of what we think we know, and embrace a new rhythm. In many ways, this mirrors our inner journey of self-mastery. When we step into new spiritual awareness, we're asked to surrender the need to control, the need to plan out every step of the way. We're asked to trust that even in the unfamiliar, we are guided. Even in the unknown, we are exactly where we're supposed to be. And that is where the magic happens. So as I walk these streets of Paris, I'm reminded of something I'd like to share with you. Being present isn't always comfortable. It requires us to let go of the stories we've been telling ourselves about who we are and where we're going. It asks us to meet each moment with fresh eyes, to trust that even in our not knowing, we are held by something greater. And when we do that, we open ourselves to miracles. So today, wherever you are, whether you're walking the familiar streets of your own town or navigating new inner territory, I invite you to pause, Take a deep breath. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Let yourself be here fully and completely, because this moment is the only one we truly have. It's in this moment that the divine speaks to us and through us. It's in this moment that we find the sacred connection we're all longing for. Presence is not just a practice, it's an act of devotion. It's the way we honor life. And it's in these moments of true presence that we remember we are part of something so much greater, something so profound, and all we have to do is show up. I love you guys so much. I'm so honored that you could be here with me today, that I could bring you into this adventure I'm on, for sharing this moment, for walking this journey of presence. Wherever you may find yourself, may you remember that this moment is sacred. May you find the divine in the simplest of things, in the breath and the heartbeat of the world around you. Until next time, I'm sending you all my love and reminding you, as always, to breathe deep, stay present, and plan on miracles. See you Friday for a powerful meditation on creating sacred presence in even unknown and new spaces.